Hello everyone and welcome back to Marathon. If you missed the announcement last week, Bungie revealed to the world their vision for a reimagining of their beloved 90s sci-fi shooter series, Marathon. The new series is a PvP-focused extraction shooter where you have to go out on an expedition to secure loot and stay alive long enough to extract it. We got an incredible trailer to set the vibe, and the vibe is good. But we all know Bungie is amazing at making trailers, so what is Marathon? What can we really expect from this new vision of that world, and how the game will fit into the current gaming market, especially alongside Destiny 2, which is set to continue with the annual expansion model well beyond the Light and Darkness saga. Bungie let us know that there will be some time before we learn more about Marathon, as the team will be going dark for an extended period of time as they develop and playtest the game. The next time we hear about Marathon, we will also be treated with gameplay. Now, the game is likely to be released in 2025 at the earliest, and certainly after Destiny 2's The Final Shape has its time to shine. And as hyped as I am to see the game in action, Bungie didn't leave without releasing a bit more information about the game via several developer interviews featuring game director Chris Barrett and general manager Scott Taylor. And also through a new Vidoc where we get a better glimpse of the game through a developer roundtable discussion and some incredible concept art. So I've gone through all of that and I've compiled it all into this video, so without further ado, let's break down everything we know so far about Marathon. Alright, so let's kick things off with the world. On the official Marathon website, you can find a small paragraph that starts painting the picture. By 2850, clone technology allows a person to reliably shift their consciousness from their born body to new synthetic bodies and back again. So it looks like we are venturing out into adventures using our synthetic body, and when we get killed, we transfer back to our born body again. I love that Bungie makes death and respawning sort of part of the lore, like Guardians and the Lights being able to be resurrected, and this is the excuse this time: you're using your synthetic body to go on these expeditions, so you're not risking your own life. And in this game, losing that synthetic body might actually be kind of problematic because you might actually lose everything that your character owns, or at least went out on the expedition carrying. Now, the original Marathon games are set in the year 2794, so just about the year 2850, but the team has mentioned that this is not a sequel or a reboot to the franchise. It does take place in the same universe, so you can expect a lot of the same tropes if you are familiar with Marathon, and while you can expect a lot of those nods from that original world, they do now have the freedom to really take it into a bold, new, and fresh direction, as you can see in the footage before you. In the PlayStation blog interview that we got alongside the Vidoc, game director Chris Barrett shared the following insights. We have a tremendous amount of respect for the original Marathon games, and from the very start, we wanted to honor that, especially the mythology, story, and themes of the world. At the same time, our vision for the game is something new, and it's not a direct sequel to the originals, but something that certainly belongs in the same universe and that feels like a Bungie game. Finding those opportunities to nod to the universe's lore while also getting to build something different and new has been one of the best parts of developing this game so far. And I mentioned in the previous video, but the look of this game is absolutely stunning, so I am totally okay with this bold new direction. Now, moving on from that, in the website description, we can see that there is some kind of human colony on this planet. The planet is called ceti 4. The colony used to house 30,000 people who have now mysteriously vanished. It may or may not have something to do with the strange massive ghost ship in low orbit above the planet. This ship is from the original series. It is so large that it was built out of a Martian moon Deimos just simply for the resources, and it was called the UESC Marathon. That's where the series gets its name. So now the question is, if we will be running on the planet's surface, will we be using the Marathon as a home base, a social space, or maybe some big endgame haunted space containing the best loot? Maybe. But you can bet that it'll be part of the story as you discover what happens to the colonists. Either way, it's our job to secure the loot as the runner, a cybernetically enhanced mercenary out for riches, fame, and infamy. We venture into the hostile world of ceti 4 and risk everything for that sweet, sweet loot. Now that moves us on to the gameplay. At its core, Marathon is an extraction shooter. You will land in a team of 3 in a persistent zone that evolves over time as the story of Marathon unfolds. Your synthetic avatar equipped with just what you need for that mission. You seek out loot across the zone. The loot can range from new equipment, supplies to help you stay alive, augments that make your character stronger, and mysterious artifacts that help you win in alternative ways. Then you need to move to extract the loot through an exfiltration event, or exfil for short. If it plays anything like The Division's Dark Zone, there will be some time where your team is vulnerable before the exfiltration is complete. In the Vidoc, we get a glimpse of this through some of the developer accounts as they are playtesting. Check this one out as the player is attacked while they are doing an exfiltration.
I actually shared an exfil with someone. They started shooting me and I'm like, okay, like I downed them and then I let them go. And that's the point, like I could play any way I want.
She demonstrated her power and then she let them go.
Now, you can win by staying alive, but you can also win through completing other objectives like collecting the pieces of a prime artifact. During your run, you can choose to hunt down these artifact pieces and combine them into what's called a prime artifact, which I'm guessing is worth a lot of points or money or something. So staying behind and working to complete your artifact could be risky if you think you have a hard time getting out, or you can just play it safe and get out with what you have. If you happen to be killed during a run, you will lose all of that loot. My only frame of reference for an extraction type shooter experience is The Division's Dark Zone, and in that game you have a special pouch that holds all of the loot you want to extract, so when you die, only that stuff really falls on the ground, and you have to make your way back to where you died to collect that stuff before others sort of scavenge it away. And then there's games like Tarkov where everything on your character is lost. So I'm interested to see where on that spectrum Bungie will set Marathon in. If you're not familiar with extraction shooters, the game will also feature elements of survival. You will need to manage things like health and oxygen. The teaser opens with the player stepping into some kind of radioactive spore, so maybe even poison management could be part of the program. It also seems like Marathon will heavily feature some of Destiny's community puzzle events, used to immortalize things like world's first achievements, opening up new zones, and unlocking features for all players. It's good that they recognize the value of these community events and how much they ensure the most community engagement, and I'm a huge fan of that, so especially with a game that is PvP focused, it might need something like this to keep players interested long term. So a lot of really interesting potential for cool gameplay moments and cool story unfolds. Now, since this is a PvP-focused game, Bungie has promised dedicated servers and disconnect recovery, which should help reduce connection and lag issues, something Destiny fans sure have been clamoring for a long time, and absolutely no one is bitter about that. The game will also feature Fog of War, a feature which limits your visibility of the map to just the areas you are or have explored. I'm a huge fan of this because enemies won't just see where you are on the enemy radar, you'll have to actually use your tactics and senses to locate your foes. It's one of the things that I absolutely love about a game like Apex Legends. I use really good 3D surround headphones while I play, and I love tracking other teams through the sounds of their footsteps or trails of discarded items. It's a feature that is absolutely designed to keep you on your toes. From there, we get a bit more insight into the appeal of the game through Chris Barrett himself addressing the frustrations that might come with an extraction shooter, like losing all the stuff you've been working so hard to collect, and tedious gear management. This is something that we think about on a regular basis. We want the game to have a sense of danger and tension. We want it to be thrilling and to always have that sense of this run is going to be unforgettable. At the same time, it's true that traditional extraction genre tropes can be frustrating, especially for new players. One of the ways we're addressing this is by making the core fantasy of survival and extraction fun, clear, and easy to understand. We want people to quickly understand fundamentals like healing or oxygen or how to organize their gear. After all, if they get those things intuitively, there's much more room for tactical thinking and creativity. You know, it's our job to create the fun in the fantasy, not the busy work and tedium. I'm excited that the game will give you a solid foundation to then layer on top of as you build up your runner with better and better equipment, and it looks like they're focused on making Marathon action-packed and fun and engaging, but we're gonna have to wait till we see some actual gameplay before we can see what they're really talking about. Alright, finally let's talk about the structure of the actual game itself. The game is PvP focused, so you will primarily be going out on runs. The game will also be a season-based live service game, just like Destiny and every other multiplayer game currently in existence. No shocker there. But the cool thing is that even though it is a PvP game, there will be lots of story that unfold over the season. The original Marathon games told their stories via terminals, so that could be something that we see here. Now, aside from that, I wouldn't be surprised if the base game of Marathon would be free to play, with the season passes and cosmetics store acting as Bungie's main source of revenue for the game. Destiny's expansions cost $40 to $50, but that's also because campaigns and cinematics and raids are really expensive to develop. If you look at a game like Apex Legends and Fortnite, PvP only games, it makes more sense for Bungie to put this out as a free-to-play game, and it looks like it might actually be the way it goes down. It might just have to be if they hope to stand out in that space. Anyways, that's everything we know so far about Marathon. I really want to play through the classics to get a better sense of the world and the story, so let me know down below if you'd like to see some classic Marathon content on the channel while we wait to learn more about the new game. Does Marathon sound like a game for you? And what is your favorite thing that you've seen so far? Let's discuss down below. Be sure to like and subscribe to help out the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future Marathon content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.